And Waigoro right back into the center of this scandal. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission will have to reopen the file into investigations into the NYS saga, and will have to call all the persons who were mentioned in this affidavit. So we now want to take a look at the persons who were mentioned in this affidavit. Who were they and what was their role in that NYS saga? And the first person mentioned was Betty Womaina, and this was Waiguru's personal assistant. According to that affidavit by Josephine Kabura, she's the one who gave Josephine 7 copies of certificates of incorporation of companies that Waiguru helped to register. Remember, during investigations into this saga, 7 companies came into light, and these are the companies where money was diverted without particular records. So that was the person, Betty Maina, who gave 7 copies of certificates of incorporation, and these are companies that former Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru helped to incorporate. Now, the second person mentioned is Raphael Ndunda, and this is the Family Bank employee. His role in the scandal, according to that affidavit, was to ensure that accounts were opened and operated without hiccups. Again, this is in relation to those 7 accounts of the 7 companies that were mentioned. The third person to be mentioned here was Hassan Noor. He was at the time of the scandal the Secretary of Administration at the Devolution Ministry, and Hassan Noor is said to have given Kabura the first LPO, this is the local purchase order, after she delivered construction material for the Kibera project. And we will get to just what that LPO is about. Josephine Kabura was given 24 million shillings to deliver construction material of roads. The other person mentioned here was Aidan Harake. He was a senior official at the NYS at the time of the scandal. He is listed among the people who regularly attended meetings at Waiguru's Runda home to cover up for the cover-up plot of the missing millions that were missing from the NYS at the time. He has been mentioned time and time again. Now, Harake has several allegations according to this affidavit. On May 3rd, he instructed Kabura to give 20 million shillings to a man only identified as Mohammed. The reason for the transfer of that 20 million shillings was just to conduct more business. She wasn't told just what the 20 million shillings was for, and he further directed her to deposit 40 million shillings in an account that he provided. Now, according to Josephine Kabura, she asked the former Devolution Secretary Anne Waiguru whether she was aware of the said instructions, and Waiguru said that she was aware of the instructions, and that Kabura should carry on with the instructions that she was given. So this, as we see, is a scandal that puts Anne Waiguru right back into the middle of this NYS saga. Another person who was mentioned is political analyst Mutahi Ngunyi. He was a consultant for the NYS at the time. He is listed according to that affidavit, also one of the 4 people that visited Waiguru's residence in Runda to plot how to cover up the 791 million shillings scandal. He also advised Waiguru to issue an official statement to cool public anger when the scandal erupted. If you remember, just when the scandal came into the spotlight, Waiguru denied the allegations, but after some time she came out to give an official statement to cool anger. That statement is said to have been officiated by political analyst Mutahi Ngunyi. Another person mentioned here is Lois Nyamumbarire. This is former Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru's elder sister. She is said to have done most of the transactions on behalf of Waiguru, and is the person who gave Josephine Kabura 24 million shillings for road construction materials, and this is part of that 791 million shillings that went missing from the NYS. One more person mentioned was Joseph Mugwanja. He is the head of Banking Fraud and Investigation Department. He is said to be the one, according to that affidavit, who instructed Aidan Harake to record a statement at the Banking Fraud Investigation Department that blamed other individuals and absolved Waiguru. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission had initially carried out another investigation of this NYS scandal, an investigation investigation which found Anne Waiguru free of the allegations that she was given. Now, Joseph Mungwana is also said to have taken 80 million shillings from Josephine Kabura under Waiguru's instructions. So this is the second last person out of this, the seventh out of the 8 people who were mentioned. This one being said to have taken 80 million shillings from Kabura under Waiguru's instructions. So as we see from this affidavit, the former Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru gave the instructions for the payouts that were given, as well as the incorporation of those 7 companies which were implicated in the NYS scandal. And finally, we have Mwaniki Munuhe, who is a journalist who was allegedly given 10 million shillings to clear Waiguru's name through the use of propaganda. So those are the persons of interest that have been implicated in this case, and these are the very people that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission will be investigating as they reopen the file into the NYS saga. Let's move on now. Deputy President William Ruto is currently in Kericho on a 3-day tour of the county in a move largely seen as a strategy to popularize the Jubilee Alliance candidate ahead of the senatorial by-election slated for early next month. The Jubilee coalition is under intense pressure to clinch the seat after losing the Nyangores by-election to a candidate affiliated to Rebel Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto. KTN's Murimi Mwangi now explains why this by-election has opened a fresh battle zone between the ruling Jubilee coalition and the Independence Party, KANU.
The nomination of 29-year-old Aaron Cheruiyot as the Jubilee Alliance Party flag bearer early last month may have been the first warning shot at the Independence Party, KANU, to brace itself for a major showdown in the Kericho senatorial by-election. But the political atmosphere has since changed and seemingly tilted in favor of Cheruiyot's closest rival, KANU's Paul Sang, a former health minister and 2 times Bureti MP. This after the defeat of the Jubilee coalition during the Nyangores civic by-election in Bomet County earlier this month. Shockwaves which have since revitalized the Kericho senatorial by-election campaigns. And now, Deputy President William Ruto is on a major charm offensive in the county this week, meeting local leaders and launching development projects, a move seen largely as a strategy to set the stage for a major political rally to be held in Kericho on Saturday.
I think even the guys that I was facing in the nominations were more fierce opponents than the guy that I'm going to face. But not to undermine him. I know he comes with a lot of clout as well. He's been a cabinet minister and all those things. But you're saying, hey, boss, thanks. You've done your bit. Give the chance to the young people. There's something that we want to offer.
Victory is in the air, and therefore, unless a miracle happens, it will not happen. I am winning. I'm assured of victory.
But the by-election has split the ruling Jubilee coalition down center, creating pockets of internal rebellion led by Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, Nandi Hills MP Alfred Keter, and former Kipkelion MP Magarer Langat, a loser in the JAP nomination, who has since expressed support for the KANU candidate.
Tumejua lengo ya wale ambao wamesimamisha kijana ambao hajui kitu, ametoka kule Nakuru County, amekuja kusimama Kericho. Wamemsimamisha kwa sababu lengo lao ni kuja kuchukua chai yenu.
Well, I know it will be quite some battle, but we are ready and we are prepared for it. You know, previously, before the nomination, I was standing all by myself. But now, after the nomination, I'm a candidate of Jubilee. Jubilee is a force to reckon with. I don't think there's anybody this side of the country that can withstand the force of Jubilee.
The by-election is largely seen as a test of the political might between Deputy President William Ruto and Baringo Senator Gideon Moi over the control of the South Rift, and the outcome of the March 7th by-election will no doubt influence the 2017 polls. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News, Nairobi.
Let's now take it to Nigeria, where the government is pushing more people to invest in the country's agriculture sector, which was once a top source of employment in the 1960s. The country wants to diversify from oil reliance as well as ease the rising cost of living. In the north, one company is working to boost the dairy sector and promote locally made milk and yogurt, but faces stiff challenges. Zinzi Kibiku with the details.
Workers at the LNZ plant in Fari, north of Nigeria, milk cows at the factory that processes various dairy products for sale in the country. Dairy processing has been declining over the years in Nigeria, leaving just a few companies like LNZ still barely managing to stay afloat as they grapple with infrastructure challenges and competition from imported cheaper products. The LNZ factory was started in 2006 with a capital of about $1,200. Today, it has grown to have a processing capacity of 20,000 liters of milk per day. The plant also processes yogurt as well, but officials say it's been difficult trying to grow the business. Demand for milk in Africa is expected to grow sharply in the next decade due to population growth and rising incomes, leading to an increase both in production and imports.
We have the capacity to produce enough to feed not only Nigeria but the entire West African sub-region. What is lacking is harnessing the milk at the right quantity, the right quality, and delivering to the processing plant at the right time.
Nigeria's Fulani cattle herders supply most of the milk here. They are known to roam in search of pasture and water for their animals. Most of them collect their milk in difficult conditions without proper facilities or equipment. Lack of proper cooling systems make it impossible for proper milk storage, and farmers often face losses. To help farmers improve on their business, LNZ now goes out to their homes to collect milk twice a week, which is also tested before being weighed and purchased.
I have been with LNZ for 5 years, and they normally buy one model for $2. I have achieved so many things with this business. Before, I will transport the milk to the market and sell it. By now, the company is buying the milk from my location, so it is a good development.
Nigerians producing yogurt, for instance, we don't have any reason to encourage yogurt importation into this country. It's sad and it's criminal for us to allow this to continue to happen.
Nigeria is looking for ways to diversify from oil reliance. Africa's biggest economy and top energy producer has been hampered by low crude prices since it relies on oil exports for around 70% of government revenues. The government wants to strengthen the agriculture sector and create jobs and reduce the reliance on costly food imports. Zinzi Kibiku, KTN News.
A high-powered delegation met with Somalia President Sheikh Hassan Mohamud over the country's 2016 electoral plan. The meeting that brought together a UN delegation, the federal government delegate garnered the approval of the electoral plan, with attendants calling for issues affecting the country, such as insecurity, be addressed. Trixingado tells us more.
An electoral model for the 2016 ballot recommended by the Somalian federal government has earned the approval of the interim Southwest administration leadership.
We want Somalia to move forward, to be united and to collectively defeat Al-Shabaab. We support a fair and inclusive election where everyone's opinion is represented and owned by the people. We support the model forwarded by the federal government of Somalia.
The head of state was speaking after a meeting with a high-powered delegation led by the special representative of the Secretary General for Somalia, Michael Keating, and another from the federal government of Baidoa. Also in attendance was the Speaker and members of the Iswa Regional Assembly, as well as representatives of civil society, including women and traditional elders on Sunday. The approval is an indicator of significant strides being made by Somalia towards democracy. The discussions are part of a countrywide consultation the federal government and its international partners are conducting with existing and emerging federal member states to receive their perspectives on proposed 2016 electoral model. The support from various factions, however, only comes with the condition that key issues are addressed, including security and fair representation. KTN lauded the ISWA president and his administration for their mature outlook toward the electoral model, which has generated debate and discussion among Somali leaders in the public. He further emphasized that the 2016 electoral model is Somali-owned and will help drive the country's ongoing transition to fully democratic rule.
What we discovered is some very strong views, and we emphasized on our part that the international community is not favoring one model or another, but what we want to see is the elections take place on time this year, both for security reasons, but also because it's important to maintain political momentum.
Trix Ingado, KTN News.